right. Today's talk is on the Dhammapada 14, called the Buddhavagga, the Restraint of the Buddha. This is manning the fort at the Zoom table. Whose knowledge is unsurpassed? How would you distract him? Who has abandoned craving and further becoming? Who has cut all entanglements? How would you distract him? Those who diligently study the Dhamma and practice the Eightfold Path will come to the point where they recognize every distraction for what it is and effortlessly abandon it. At that point, the worldly things lose their grip. These are the Arahants, the Buddhas, the awakened ones. Those rightly self-awakened, established in Jhana, delighted with a calm mind, resting in renunciation, remaining free and mindful. The wise hold those dear. Human life is rare. Human life is difficult. The chance to hear the authentic Dhamma is rare. Awakening is difficult. The Buddha uses the word kichang here, translated as rare and difficult. The difficult part means more difficult to obtain than the hardship side. What he's getting at here is not to take this opportunity that you have for granted. You want to take a good look outside of 107 Harrison Street, Frenchtown, New Jersey, outside of your own short life, and see how rare this opportunity really is. Abandon all that is hurtful, develop what is skillful, concentrate the mind. This is the teaching of the Buddha. Right effort, right concentration. The Dhamma and Cliff Notes. Practicing the Dhamma can be that simple and direct. At any point in your day when you might be agitated, unsure what to do, you ask yourself simply this: could my words or deeds cause harm to myself or others? If so, check your mirror, turn on your blinker, and hang right. And keep your eyes on the road at all times. This is how the Dhamma works in real life. Patient endurance is the foremost skill, unbinding the foremost achievement. Those who mislead or hurt others have lost the Dhamma. Practice the Dhamma in accordance with the Dhamma. With wise restraint, do not disparage others. Be moderate with food. Dwell in seclusion. Develop Jhana. Patient endurance and being harmless, not disparaging others, can be a tough thing to do in this world. But the Buddha was no stranger to human suffering. he saw rampant disease, famine, kings overthrown, killed, even the outright slaughter of war. That was the kind of dukkha that the teachings dealt with at that time. All that we're dealing with here is maybe a heavily contested democratic election in one of the richest countries in the world, with a little pandemic thrown in there. So restrain your fear, your anger, your greed, patient endurance, being harmless, not disparaging others. It comes highly recommended, and it will bring you a life of ease. Understanding stress, the disciple knows that a lake of gold coins does not satisfy. The disciple delights in the end of craving. This one is a disciple. The disciple knows that craving has no end. It has no satisfaction. Only the ending of craving brings satisfaction. He is called a disciple because he has practiced the discipline of the Eightfold. Escaping to mountains, caves, forests, or shrines brings no protections from ignorance. The supreme refuge of my Dhamma brings release from all confusion, delusion, stress, and suffering. The triple refuge of the Buddha, the Dhamma, and a well-focused Sangha brings an understanding of the Four Noble Truths. The Supreme's triple refuge brings release from all confusion, delusion, stress, and suffering. When we're looking for that refuge, we're trying to find it by getting away from people or from people that we don't like. Binge watching TV, going through another pint of Rocky Road. Also, we're spinning the same old wheels in the same old mud. It won't save you from the effects of your own ignorance, your own not understanding the nature of reality and your place in there and your effect. Take refuge in what you found here. The example of the human Buddha, the guidance of the Dhamma, and the comfort and support of this Sangha. This refuge will bring you to and support you in the practice that will end all confusion and delusion and stress that has been bothering you since you first opened your eyes. That first. When you realize that things weren't quite okay, despite what your parents, your teachers, your friends told you, this is all normal. The truly pure person is uncommon. It is a lie that he is everywhere. The rightly self-awakened one brings true wealth and happiness to their family. Having lost that roadmap, that path to awakening for so long, it seems unlikely that we could find somebody now who truly followed and practiced this to the full unbinding. I spent the greater part of my life looking for them. I found plenty of claimants. They all had lead feet. No one could teach an effective path to self-awakening. And John can tell you the same thing. But now, finding someone who can teach the path to self-awakening is a reality for all of us. It's a true blessing to be able to use this opportunity for ourselves. And through us, it's a blessing for all those that we touch. Fortunate we are to find those awakened. Fortunate we are to have those teaching the authentic Dhamma. Fortunate we are to have a well-informed and well-focused Sangha. Fortunate we are to find wise restraint here. Fortunate we are to find those that followed those awakened through my Dhamma. Disciples that have abandoned self-identification, greed, and aversion, those fearless and unbound, have abandoned measuring merit. That's a beautiful saying that he has there, measuring merit. Because instead of going for the brass ring, that life of ease and calm, we gather merit our whole lives. Bank accounts, houses, successful children, good deeds, and Buddhists, Christians, Muslims, everyone is going for the same medal of meritorious behavior as the lion god. Rare are those who walked away from that long row of slot machines that this is. Left their cup of quarters and went searching for someone who could teach them how to be human. And now that you've found yourself in the truly fortunate circumstance of stumbling into a well-focused Sangha where an effective Dhamma is taught, go at it like your hair is on fire. The smoke you've been smelling is not your imagination. Let's go back for a few minutes and revisit verse 4, because it's a really important. Human life is rare. Human life is difficult to obtain. The chance to hear the authentic Dhamma is rare. Self-awakening is difficult. On this opportunity that we have here, because we are all living in a time and place of comfort and security and ease, where we are here. And you may throw in there that, oh my God, we're having economic disaster, we have people marching in the streets, we have a reality show host in the White House, we have social democrats in Congress. But despite that, we are living in a time and place of comfort and security and ease compared to a lot of people in the world and a lot of people in history. You are not living in a basement of an apartment building in Damascus, waiting for the next barrel bomb to come down and finish you off. You're not trying to scratch a living on a postage stamp farm somewhere in Africa, in the middle of a drought, seeing your family die of starvation. You're not holed up in some little house somewhere in the middle America, waiting for the gangs to come, take your daughters, kill your sons. Now you actually have a measure of comfort, security, and ease in your life, so that you can actually show up in class regularly, and you do have the time to read and listen and discuss the Dhamma. Open your eyes and ears. Widen your horizon. Understand that you are fortunate. Don't waste this opportunity. Sorry, I get a little emotional.
You want to have that box of tissues over here?
Let's pass the baskets.
Thank you. It's totally used up.
How's the Zoom room?
That was really outstanding. I've talked about this a few times. All of our teachers teach the Dhamma in their own way.
Mm.
Jen teaches. When Jen starts teaching, there's a teacher teaching.
Mm.
Kevin has such an appreciation and a connection to the Sangha. He really speaks to everyone in that way.
Right.
And you're a professor of Dhamma. I don't mean that in a stilting way. There's no haughtiness about it, but your understanding of the Dhamma allows you to present it. And this is the perfect chapter, because you understand how rare it is, and you understand how simple it is. And that really is the point of this whole chapter. You presented that in just a wonderful way. And I think I've said this the last few teachers, but you make an old teacher proud. by developing the Dhamma. And I know it has to. Besides being a professor, you are one of the best examples of right effort, because for the first 3 or 4 years, you weren't quite convinced, but you kept coming, you kept applying it in the way it was meant to be applied. I remember the talk we had on the Eightfold Path, I think it was your 3rd retreat, and then I could start seeing your eyes lighting up, but that was 2.5 or 3 years in,
Right.
Still with great doubt. You never let it. You never let that stop you, because you always engage in right effort. And you're just such a great example of that, what you can develop by simply continuing, not taking. In that way, when you're going from conditioned mind to understanding the reality of the Dhamma, it takes great gentleness, but it also takes great courage, because you're not questioning me or the Dhamma. You're really questioning your own beliefs. That's tough.
Yeah.
You had the courage to do it. This is the result. So we're all fortunate because of that. Right?
Yeah, I was fortunate to have been, I don't know how and where, but I was really taught this honesty with myself, to always question everybody's beliefs, but specifically my beliefs. And frankly, I still don't know where that came from. But I have a hard time really pinning that down, what kept me going, because I really came here for all the wrong reasons. But in the beginning, I really wanted to prove you wrong with what you were saying there. You know, and I wasn't going to do that in class, because that was not my issue. You presented something that was pretty solid, and I thought I had the knowledge to blow holes in that, and I tried, and I couldn't. The more you get into studying this Dhamma, you see how it hangs together. And then when you start actually practicing it, you see that it works.
And I think the reason why you couldn't punch holes in it is because I wasn't teaching that. Really? I was teaching
exactly.
Pure Dhamma. Yeah. I used it as best as I understood it to teach it.
And I couldn't get back to the source. I looked up.
That's why I don't mean to interrupt you, but that's why I only teach a Dhamma, Sutta, because that's the foundation.
Yeah. Because
you pick my opinion apart all day long.
Right. And as soon as you stray from that part, from what we now see as the authentic Dhamma, you end up in opinions, and we all know what they're worth. I've got a whole pile of them behind the barn.
Yeah, there's a line that you read about merit. All of modern Buddhism is based on gaining merit. Mm-hmm. So that's not something that's peculiar to our time. It was common during the Buddhist time. Fabricated dharmas require that merit of some sort. In other words, I'll follow the 10 Commandments and I get a reward, et cetera, et cetera. That's merit. That's a merit-based belief system that is ultimately it's cruel and hurtful. And
even outside of religion, this is what we do. We're trying to gain some merit, making ourselves feel good about it. So merit-based.
When we gain it, we let people know it. Why don't we go online first? Yeah, it's okay with you. We'll start with Josh. Josh, how are you?
Good. Wonderful, Ram. Hello, everybody. I think this morning you just made me really appreciative of the fact of how good I've got it. and
even at the advanced age that you are at.
But it always brings up the question of whether material comfort and ease is a hindrance rather than a help when it comes to getting out of distraction and self-referencing and all of the fear of losing what you have or fear of not getting what you want, all kinds of grasping and clinging, which I think I struggle with more than I should. But
my old teachers used to say, you can be poor and miserable, or you can be rich and miserable. It's better to be rich and miserable.
Well, it was wonderful, Ram. Thank you, and I'll sign off.
You're welcome.
Kevin, how are you?
Very good, John. Hello, everyone. Wow. So, Ram, that was truly beautiful. This is, it's a beautiful sutta, a beautiful teaching, and you presented it so heartfelt that it was really moving. The Dhammapada is really like Buddha's greatest hits. I mean, and this is one of the greatest, It encapsulates the entire Dhamma in this one teaching, and it's just like a circle. Or like a lotus blossom. It just all those analogies that always come up around Buddhism, and it really just points to how that is. You were talking about trying to punch holes in it, and I think it's impossible because the Four Noble Truths are true. They are truths, and it's impossible to refute them. In these lines, human life is difficult. The chance to hear authentic Dhamma is rare. Awakening is difficult. That is so true, but it is so true that we're able in this Sangha to have the chance to hear authentic Dhamma. And I appreciate that so much. And it just, awakening is difficult though, and life gets in the way of it, but we will keep to the path.
Keep at it.
Yeah. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Kevin. Thanks for joining. Anthony, how are you down in beautiful Miami?
Oh, good. Yeah, we're getting one of those periodic storms right now, and it just looking at everybody wearing the flannel shirts with shirts underneath made me realize we're in a very different place. And everybody's blowing their nose, and I know that I would be among you right now because the fall always made me blow my nose. But I'll find different reasons to do that here. But anyway, Ron, you did an excellent job. You found a way to expand on a really important teaching and add to it and make it your own, very authentic. And by the same token, it's consistent with the Buddha, so that's not an easy needle to thread, and you did it really well. I love the teaching because it talks about how things that we all intuitively know, like that money doesn't bring happiness and changing environments doesn't bring happiness. And there is no such thing as a universal oneness because this is an inside job. Like we have to do this ourselves. And it kind of reminds me of, I think it was Jack Kornfield that wrote a book, Wherever You Go, There You Are. And that's kind of how this is, because you can go into rich environments, or you could be here in Miami and you're still the same person, and you're still going to wake up with problems no matter where you are. And it's an inside job, like I said. I do have a question for Ram. What is the triple refuge? I was piecing through and trying to figure that out, and I couldn't.
That is the refuge of the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha.
Ah, okay, perfect. Thank you. So anyway, great job again, Ram. Love being here, and everybody enjoy the weekend.
Thank you. Anthony, if you go on the website, on the homepage, you'll see 3 suttas on true refuge. That's the triple refuge. Please say hello to Deborah for me.
I will. Thank you so much.
Hey, Tom, how are you this morning? Can't hear you.
I'm on, there you go. All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks, Rom. Hi, John. Hi, everyone. It's great to see you and hear you. Yeah, I'm going to come to my, well, like everyone else, I think I really picked up on that sense of appreciation for the Dharma. And I think something you said, Rom, which made me reflect a bit more was, it's not just, I mean, normally we look at how fortunate we are. You know, we live in first world countries, and yes, we don't lack of basic necessity, things and whatever we need to be basically or theoretically, let's say, happy. But when you step out of it and you realize how fortunate we are to be in this Sangha and to be able to hear some authentic Dharma teaching, not just within, I mean, you can zoom out and further out and think through history, how many people have been this fortunate. And it makes you realize that I really like the idea, which I've heard a couple of times, of, take to the Dharma like your hair's on fire. And, that is how I feel that deep appreciation. And I do feel that burning kind of desire to take to the Dharma like my hair's on fire, even if I very, very, very regularly reflect and say, well, why am I not taking to it as much as I should, given how much I value it, right? So, but it's a great thing to reflect on and to keep. That's why I love jumping in on these weekends, because it helps me to sort of reflect again on my week and say, well, have I this week really taken to the Dharma as if my hair was on fire? Have I done, could I, or how can I continue to prioritize it more and more? And just like Josh said, I do notice progress, and I know I'm prioritizing it more than I did in the past. So that's already progress, right? And I guess I've just got that burning desire to continue to just prioritize it a little bit more, with hopefully every day, or and gradually get more and more aligned with on the path. So yeah, that was my sort of sentiment. Just one other thing, two very quick things. First was, it's just a little bit, I don't know if it's only me, but I found it quite hard to hear you, Rom. I could do it, but I've got a little bit of background noise here, and yeah, Josh is saying the same. I was really having to listen carefully. I don't know if there's any way in which a microphone can be like, or something, just to make it a little bit easier to hear. I haven't only noticed that today, I must say, but it was especially, I noticed it especially today.
Yeah, we're having a different microphone setup than usual. So, right. So there's we tweak these things continuously. But thank you for your input. It is important for us to know that when things are not quite clear in the audio or in the video.
Yeah.
I would agree with Tom on that.
Yeah, you all should see Tom's face. The enthusiasm he's showing right now is remarkable. And I would say Josh too. I can't see Anthony because he put, there he is. But Tom, your enthusiasm for the Dhamma will stand you in good stead going forward. So
thank you. Thanks a lot for having me.
Hello, Mary.
Hi, everybody. Good morning, everyone.
Mary.
I would also echo, about the sound. I could hear, it was just a little difficult. But Ram, you did a really great job. between you and Kevin, how you summarize things and the words you used, I was feeling the same, many of the same emotions. I thought it was so thoughtful in terms of how you put it together, and how it was so apparent. You know, I'm sure as a teacher, you do it for yourself. You want to do well. You want to do well in front of the teacher, but you also want to convey certain emotion and significance to your fellow Sangha mates. And you did that so beautifully. I mean, just really your thoughtfulness and your personal experiences were really effective in helping us experience the Dhamma with you today. So thank you so much. Just really, the whole Dhammapada is really just amazing. It's all there, and it is the reminder to live it every day and reflect on it and move forward like your hair's on fire. So really wonderful job. And it feels wonderful to be with the Sangha today. And I really look forward to the retreat. So thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Let me just say,
Thank you, Mary.
Paul, because it's, you'll see the stark contrast between fabricated interpretations and what the Buddha actually taught. By just doing a search anywhere on the Dhammapada and compare what you find to the restored Dhammapada, and you'll see how useful this is now.
Yeah.
That Ron, it's up to you. As everybody online, thank you all for joining.
I wanted to kind of, as I've been getting into the Dhammapada here, if you look at the Dhammapada as a toolkit, we've talked about this, John and I, in the original Sangha and later as well. Every morning, the monks would go out to get their alms, and they were required to give a teaching as a gesture of appreciation. And my feeling is that all these verses were just, that was their toolkit. When somebody asked them a question or if the situation merited it, they would pick one of these verses and say them and maybe expound on them. And that makes, commenting on this, actually writing this, and well, this is how I do, I write it down, because that's how I express myself. But it was actually very easy, because as soon as when you have a base knowledge of the Dhamma, it's not hard to use all of these in certain situations. This is what the Buddha said. This is what he meant. And it can be, it doesn't have to be a half an hour or more. It can be a 5-minute little thing. This is your situation. Well, let me show you what the Buddha said about that. And this is your question. Here's the Buddha's answer, and this is how you should look at that. Anybody else left on the?
No, everybody still online.
Yeah.
Whew. I'm so grateful to I feel like I just got cold water thrown in my face, and given a talking to. Like, get your act together.
Mm-hmm. I'm talking to myself too.
I know, and I'm actually not. I didn't take it as. It was almost like I needed to hear it for me, but I also, it's what I've been thinking and feeling, but not able to put into words for others. I feel like I can't wait till this recording goes up. I just want to dish it out to people that I've been having this kind of conversation with and not able to fully express what you just expressed today in a way that is pure. And there's no personalization. It's just pure expression of the Dhamma and in a way that's completely relatable to anyone. And so I'm just so grateful. So glad you stumbled in here and punched holes in
We all stumbled in here. What is this thing? What am I doing here? David. Thank you for teaching. Adam?
Leave your quarters to the slot machine. I love that.
Yeah.
I had the same visceral emotional reaction that Jen had. I come in here each week and I'm just overwhelmed by this feeling of gratitude. And it's been kind of displaced, but today you kind of focus it on the rarity and the good fortune we have in having the Dhamma presented to us and it being there and being explained to us by people who have embraced the Eightfold Path.
Can I ask you how you came to this? I mean, why this reaction of gratitude?
It's kind of in a way for me, it's come full circle. I first came across Buddhism through meditation and was just, thunderstruck by my first experience meditating. And then I spent 30 years pursuing it academically and got away from that sense of relief and refuge from meditation. And coming back into here with all of you reawoke that first experience. It just makes me vital.
Good. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Brett, good to be here. How's your practice?
Good to see everybody, and thanks for your teaching. It was, I think, just being grateful and just being able to hear the teaching was pretty simple. Start to get into some thoughts, and you realize, come back to your breath and practice the Eightfold Path, and that's what there is. And if I can do that, then everything else will follow. Gave me the courage to look at what that is and just the simplicity of it and continue to do it. So thank you for the courage.
Tim?
The Dhammapada, when we read it in our confines, is strong and it means a lot for all of us. But when we have a practitioner ourselves, and we hear wisdom and insight explaining that in the Dhammapada chapter, and then the Sangha interaction, you can see the powerful nature of the Dhammapada as to your From this particular chapter and from your teaching, I got from here that there's 4 major points that I take from this. Briefly, the reminders, recognition, perseverance, and appreciation of the 3 jewels. The hardest thing for me, because it's an introspective practice, is that everyone's suffering is uniquely their own. So I try not to look at somebody wealthy and say, why are they so depressed? Why are they so up? And I try not to look at people who seem to be very content and happy, who are living in horrible situations environmentally. And just bring it back to the introspective nature.
Yeah. Mind governs all.
Right. And so that wholesome realization to develop the Dhamma is so strongly put into this chapter. And to develop the Dhamma at one's own pace through these reminders that the Buddha is giving us, to abandon hurtful thoughts, to abandon the faith, to impermanence, to your point, to recognize that rarity of the authentic Dhamma and appreciate it. That is something that took me such a long time to really get, to appreciate the rarity of that purity. And it is human nature of a self-referential person to take those things for granted, what is in front of us. So to recognize this wisdom and abandon self-identification with the phenomenon, abandon all fabrications of this is something that has been very difficult for me, is to abandon the fabrications that fortify the not-self, that fortify that pure self, not-self. And that line that you emphasize, human life is rare and difficult. That's what I got from that. That once that purity is recognized, recognize that it's rare. And it's something to appreciate.
Yeah, look around you. Right, and look back on your life.
And that's where the
see how much time you've spent in, rolling around in this stuff. And for me the same. I spent 50 years doing this, and it's it wasn't all misery, but that sense of solidity, which is what I was looking for, I've only found this here. And I read like my hair's on fire. And I've been fortunate enough to be able to travel a lot as well. I've seen people in other circumstances, and I've been to other sanghas, and this is rare.
And there's a line there that the Buddha, the significance of it can't be overlooked. The rarity of human life, not just the rarity of knowledge. And so ignorance tells us that we have limitless lives. Most of modern Buddhism is taught that there's endless Buddhas going back endless years and endless Buddhas going into the future. And that completely negates the importance of the present moment. This is, as far as we know, we can speculate all we want. We're one and done here. We can either live a portion of an awakened human life or not. That's the importance of the present moment, is knowing that. This is the moment to awaken. Not yesterday, not tomorrow. This is the only time we can do it. It's the only life we can do. It's a significant line. Brought it out low.
One last point on all those topics. And again, this is the conversation and the notes that we all take from this Dhammapada chapter is longer than the Dhammapada chapter. So, but the thing that I really, from all those discussions, the short-term relief and convenience is not a recipe for long-term peace and tranquility. So from coming to the Sangha and persevering and using and applying right effort, I feel that there is a sense of courage, but persistence, that I want to take to the Dhamma at my own pace and enjoy the journey. And it's not, I know everyone says it's great to the hair on fire, and I get that. I know what you guys mean by that, but depending on where that one person is, there should be for myself, introspectively, that own pace, because that not self can very quickly turn that into a loathing and I'm not good enough for this, and those things. And so by going at your own pace, but recognizing and using this Dhammapada chapter, recognizing, using those reminders, it's a calming effect. And it says it's okay. You don't have to. You don't awake today, that's okay.
Yep. We all do this at our own pace. There's no other way to do it. Because if you start pushing it, then you're getting into like it becomes a kind of self-punishment. You know, I'm gonna beat myself to death until I get this stuff. And I remember going into some of the retreats where John's doing his marathon. And my head's starting to spin, and I'm trying to absorb everything at the same time. And finally, I realized that's not what it's about. You know, just let it wash over you, and get what you get, because you get what you get when the time is right. You can read the same chapter, the same sutta 20 times, and every time you get something else. And then there's the one time where it really whacks you over the head.
A fully integrated Eightfold Path provides that type of guidance.
Mm-hmm.
It allows us to keep practicing like our hair is on fire, right intention and right effort, while our minds are resting in Jhana. And so we're not taking the Dhamma itself first. But it does require, because of the nature of a fabricated mind, clinging to ignorance.
Right.
It does take a certain amount of effort.
It does.
But it must be gentle effort.
Yeah.
And can I add, to go back to Jen, our teacher, during the summer, she said, don't do this in a rote manner.
Yeah.
Take each sit, each class, each reading, and put it in a context of right practice. And as John said, it's naturally washing over you. There's no rush. But to sit because you have to sit because it's the right practice. And that from each one of our teachers, that was so striking to me. That don't be lazy in your effort. Sitting isn't effort. Right effort is sitting for purpose. So thank you.
The line, the two words that are used in this chapter, patient endurance.
And there's a beating yourself to death kind of effort, and then there is the steady, patient endurance effort. The patient endurance works better.
And we are such a wonderful example of just that. And those of us that have continued develop the knowledge, those that haven't don't. It's not a judgment at all. We're just an example of how the part of the Dhamma, how the Eightfold Path actually works.
I really enjoyed that. It's really clean, honest. Obviously, you mentioned to be harmless. And I think if you want to really describe in one word, it's harmless. Individual is harmless to themselves. And every word of God actually comes on the people. And it's not too hard to want wisdom to be able to do. So that being harmless and say, this is where John had mentioned before, rare and simple. It is simple, the idea of being harmless and kind of like, it's a deeply introspective word when it comes just to
It's the minute-to-minute test.
It's that moment of death. And it's the end. And it's like keeping the present. There's no obvious something you're not happy. You don't actually understand that song. Recognize how long you do this. And it's to recognize how you do this. Two choices to make every moment.
Oh, boy.
Again, harmless. That is nothing. When you're harmless, this is the word for me today. If you believe that that is authentic Dhamma, where harmless, you definitely be this is just one thing I have to do for once in. For as long as we live here, I have a choice. We have a choice. Continue being angry, but to choose the Eightfold Path. The Eightfold Path is a wise association. When you have the guidance, sure. Again, wise association also puts in mindfulness.
Yeah.
Associate, for example, then you are also harmed. Everything comes back to it. As I said that, once we're, again, being honest, really ready. That's what I got out of that. We started it so skillfully. It was a pleasure sitting here and listening to you. 100% attention paid to everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Julia?
Thank you for all that you're saying. The thing that really impacted me was with the Buddha said, human life is rare, human life is difficult. Chance to be authentic on the prayer and live in the prayer. Makes me realize how difficult that really is. And I like what you said, do not take this opportunity for granted. That is very, very true. We're very fortunate because we have this authentic Dhamma, we have Roche, we have Sangha, where we're all in the spirit together, working, walking on the same peaceful path. And we have Jhana. So this is a very special opportunity. This is a very special place that we need to recognize.
And we have the means to do this. We have the means. We can actually do this. Despite crazy schedules and stuff going on, we have the means to practice. And look around you and see that you're one of the fortunate few.
That is very true. The thing I was trying to say is that we have to be careful because we're not aesthetics. Hiding in some cave in the mountain, practicing Dhamma.
Okay.
We constantly being thrown back into the world, in a tornado of, which is it's dangerous.
But you can't practice the Dhamma in a cave.
No,
You can't.
No, but
Yeah.
That's the thing. That we have to practice, make sure that we stay on the Eightfold Path. We have to practice right. We have to practice wise restraint. We have to practice our Jhana every day. And we have to come to the Sangha so we have strength from each other, to continue on that path. Because it's like this, you can go along. It's very easy.
You can, but
because
yeah.
as a child, I grew in a family where we practice meditation, but it's easy to get entangled in the world and forget. Easy to forget. Forget the path. So we're very fortunate that we have this very pure path on very important that John has given us. appreciation for love for giving and around us. Yeah, thank you. Because it is very rare, so we need to recognize. Thank you, Astro.
Mom is good poll. I like that. Ron, that was remarkable. And I just want to say to you that I really love the way you made it. You made it personal. You made it your own. And by your rich use of sort of common examples, you made it so clear, and you made it so able to be taken in and understood. In addition to your amazing voice, that is just, I can listen to you talk. You should be on one of those. Really have a really nice, calm, lovely voice. Very easy to understand.
I'll do a recording of the phone book soon.
Recording of the phone book. I do have to admit that my mind was not in a place to take in and feel everything that you said today, because my mind was really distracted. And often, like what Julia said, just resonated with me so much, because it can be pretty far out there.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I wasn't trying to tell anybody that their life is just all peaches and cream.
No. I realize we're all fortunate. We certainly have the comforts of life. That goes on. It goes without saying, but it's just difficult to keep your mind from being distracted. So I'm looking so forward to listening to you again. I just want to thank you. It was wonderful being here, hearing what everyone had to say, because it kind of finally brought me back to where I need to be. And a lot of you said that. A lot of you said that you need to come here every week. You need to be reminded of how special this is and how powerful it is, and that you are definitely in possession of the three jewels, and be thankful for that and reminded of that often, so that we can continue. Thank you.
Shall we do Metta? Now goes the song and dance part.
That's what this chapter is about. It's the chapter to earmark that I'm earmarking, that when I feel out of sorts, to remind me.
Because that is, you know, the feeling agitated, you know, and that's where your ear should prick up. This is where the practice comes in. When everything is humming along and you're happy and everything, there's no problem. And you're barely practicing. You know, you're just reaping the fruits of practice. Maybe. When things get agitated, that's when your ear should prick up, and that's where the question comes to mind: am I harmless? And if I'm not harmless, hang a right. Do it another way. Say something different. Watch what comes out of your mouth. It's so easy, you know. For some people, you know, flying off the handle is kind of normal. But there again, that's where your jhana comes in. That you can keep that concentration, that you can keep that self-awareness. That what am I doing? My wife's been wanting me to be a teacher forever, but now that I am, she's not quite sure that she likes what I'm teaching. Let's see. On the Karaniya Metta Sutta, it's good to know the backstory of this. This was a bunch of monks that went off to do their own little rains retreat. And they ran into a situation where they felt they were being harassed. And they couldn't do their meditations. And so they ran back to town where the Buddha was staying and asked them, what are we doing now? We're being harassed. And this is his answer. This is how you get back to your practice. This is how you apply them. The Buddha's words of metta. This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let him be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened by duties and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud or demanding in nature. Let him not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove. Wishing, in gladness and in safety, may all beings be at ease, whatever living beings they may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen or the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another. Even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child, so with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will. Whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness, one should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding. By not holding to fixed views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires, is not born again into this world.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ram. Great job.
Thank you. See you next week.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.